Welcome to the Five Arms and a Lucky Fin podcast. I am your host, Brendan McCormick, with my co-hosts Jason Ide, aka Lucky Finn, and D Saw, aka David Soloway. Uh, it's a pleasure to have everyone in the building this lovely day, guys.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad I could make it, boys.
All three of us in the same building, and even Kenny backstage. Shout out Kenny, keeping us alive back there and on task. Appreciate you, brother. Let's recap week 1 of college football. A lot of good action, a lot of good games. Feel like there was a lot of good quarterback play. Not from Mendoza, obviously, David, from the Indiana Hoosiers, but we'll dive into that later. A lot of changes on the AP poll too. Obviously, we had Clemson and LSU. That was probably the game of the week, and what a game it was. Both defenses were stacked. Offenses looked a little shaky on both sides, but obviously LSU got it done, and Nussmeier buckled down and had a good drive. Obviously, late in the second half, OSU beats Texas. Arch looks a little shaky. Doesn't look like he's comfortable in that pocket. Really interested to see in week 2 if he makes those adjustments. Obviously, it's a week 1 going against, the reigning champs. That's a big game. But did not lost 7-14. Did not look good. Obviously, some changes in the AP poll from week 1. OSU moves up to number 1. LSU moves up to number 3, and Bama shouldn't even be here, but they're ranked 21st somehow, guys. Don't know how that happened. Florida State just handed them an L. Pretty big L. Not sure how they're still ranked. They look lost. They look really lost. We'll dive into that. DeBoer needs to do his thing, obviously, but they look really lost. And then IU drops to 23 and a little shaky from week 1 playing against Old Dominion. Would also like to shout out some other games that happened. Obviously, Miami and Notre Dame. Miami is moving up to number 5. That was a pretty solid game. Really felt like Notre Dame couldn't really get it going in the first half against Miami. And their freshman quarterback looked all right, though, overall, in my opinion. I do think they're a top 5 team. Talk about that later a little bit and touch base with them, but they look solid. Another team from the Big 12, guys, is Iowa State. They have caught my eye in a big way. They move up 6 spots in the AP poll. In my opinion, I think they could win the Big 12. I will go there, at least in the Big 12 championship. So Campbell's a legit coach. Their defense looks great. 16, not 17. Sorry, I apologize on that. But really solid overall. Tennessee jumped up 2 spots with their win over Syracuse. So, I mean, they look all right. Texas Tech probably had the game of the week, covering a big spread. Won 67-7 against Arkansas Pine Bluff. I've been calling it a different name, but we'll call them Pine Bluff. Right there, 67-7. Even a little weather delay, guys. But let's talk about the Tigers and against the Tigers, obviously LSU. Uh, Jason, if you don't mind breaking this game down a little bit and your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, when I saw a lot of the highlights of the game, I mean, obviously we watched it, but we had some other things going on while we were watching it as well. But when we were watching the highlights, I saw a lot of good things from the LSU defense, especially when, if you really think about Clemson scoring the 10 points, even the 3 was off of a turnover where they already had the ball on plus territory. Ended up getting a longer field goal out of it. If you really think about it, outside of that turnover, Clemson only really had one sustaining drive where they ended up going all the way down the field and scoring a touchdown. On top of that, they had that long run by Klubnik on that drive, and then in total they only had 31 yards of offense. Now, obviously, sack yards count as negative rush yards in college football, but I think that is just a testament overall to the LSU defense being able to get big stops when they need to. And like you were saying, I agree with you. I mean, both it's week one. We saw a lot of quarterbacks look a little sluggish this week and a lot of bad throws across the board. So I'm not too worried about the offense from that standpoint because both defenses were just really impressive.
Yeah, that was an awesome game that LSU probably should have blown Clemson out if we're really looking at it. At the end of the first quarter, or sorry, end of the first half, LSU tries to score a touchdown instead of just settling for the field goal. That would have made it 10-6 going into the half. And then also in that second half, they had that turned over touchdown, incomplete pass. We can all agree it was 100% a touchdown. And that would have that would have been another score. It was huge for them to overcome that. I think they got a 3 and out right after that and then went down the field and scored that last touchdown. So just overcoming that adversity in that big of a game, in that environment, really, really shows that LSU is a team that's here to stay this year, I think. And like Jason said, the defense was great all night.
The defense shocked me more than anything. I really felt like LSU struggled last year with their defense, and I felt like they made some pretty big adjustments when they played Clemson. I felt like they were a lot more aggressive. I feel like at times last year LSU played pretty passive and not aggressive and didn't send the blitz. I really felt like they tried to get after Klubnik pretty good. I saw a lot of blitzes on third down, which was smart. And then I would say their linebacker play and at times their D line looked really like dominating Clemson. And so I don't know if Clemson, in my opinion, is obviously it's really early. I don't know if they're a top 10 team. Not saying they won't make the CFP, but in my opinion, they look a little shaky. I think the ACC is stronger this year after watching a lot of different teams from the ACC. Obviously, Florida State with the big win over Bama, and a couple other teams that I'm probably skipping my mind right now, to be honest. That also played. Oh, Miami. I mean, Miami looked good with their new quarterback situation with Carson Beck. I believe this is his. Is it his 7th year or is it 6th year that he has played?
I don't even know that it's 6.
I don't either.
He was a backup for
Hmm.
Stetson for a couple years, then he was the starter. I
Yeah,
think this might be his 5th.
5th
But
year. All right.
a lot of years with a
Anyways,
lot of playing.
yeah, and I really felt like his experience helped him in that game against Notre Dame. I really felt like that was a solid game. Probably one of my favorite games of the weekend, honestly, watching that. So I think there's a few key teams in the ACC that can really do some damage this year. I don't think they're as weak as last year and probably other years that I've seen in college football. They've kind of been, I don't want to say the laughing stock because that's not true, but they've definitely had their issues as a conference in football. So I mean, LSU definitely had struggled the first half. Clemson was up 10-3. Nussmeier ended the game with 28 of 38, 230 yards, 1 touchdown. 39-yard long pass and then 1 sack. I feel like that's a pretty big key for LSU this year, if I'm honest, is Nussmeier not getting sacked and taking care of the ball and not making ill-advised throws and interceptions. I really felt like he did that last year. So I'm excited to see him take that step this year and move forward in his career and just play smarter. I think that's what he needs to do this year. I feel like he has more weapons too this year, if I'm not wrong, Jason, at wide receiver.
I mean, there's just speed all over the field. Can't get away from it.
Yeah, speed is definitely important, especially at the wide receiver position. And as we know, LSU develops wide receivers like butter. So, I mean, just look at their.
They churn it.
Um,
They churn them over.
This is true. This is true. Kenny, good point. Shout out Kenny. Dabo's comment. Like at the end of the game, obviously Dabo always opens his mouth, says, like getting the final exam on the first day of class. They made a 65, we made a 58. Sweeney said. Neither one of us were great. I definitely disagree with that comment. I agree with David. I really felt like LSU had the potential to dominate Clemson that game. There was just a couple things that didn't go LSU's way. Obviously, that freaking overturn catch of a touchdown. And that really affected, in my opinion, kind of the momentum and the game in a big way. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that I get the sentiment of what Dabo's trying to say. He's trying to say it was the first test, it was a close game. Neither team did look great on offense. I mean, LSU, like we said, they could have had 27 points, but obviously there's still a lot of room for improvement on offense too. So I think I get the sentiment, but when you lose, you come off as a sore loser when you say something like that. So it's probably better to just keep your mouth shut, move on, focus on your own team.
Yeah, and it's like I had said when we were talking about it originally, I look at it like if you're going to look at it like that, 65-58, I'm going to look at it like a pass fail is a 60 and one team passed and the other one failed. I mean, that's the only way for me to look at it. I see one team at 1-0, I see one team at 0-1. I don't really care what you're rating. You're grading yourself or grading the other team. At the end of the day, you lost, the other team won. They executed when they had to. You didn't. You got shut out in the second half and didn't really do anything at home. So that's the big thing for me.
Clemson's the next game is against Troy, so that will be obviously not a good test to see um, when they play. But I'm excited to see Clemson against another top 25 opponent. I really, am struggling with this Clemson team offensively. I think Klubnik was probably at least top 4 in the Heisman race, probably before that game. And he looked rough. He just looked off. Really not sure if it was the game plan and how they plan to attack LSU, but they definitely looked off. Klubnik threw for 19 of 38, 230 yards, an interception. The longest pass he had was 26 yards, and then 2 sacks on the day. So definitely not probably his best performance. Really felt like LSU took it to them in the rushing game, and that really shocked me when I looked at the stats books. LSU rushed it for 31 attempts, 108 yards, 1 touchdown. Longest rush of the day was 24 and averaged 3.5. If you look at Clemson's rushing, obviously sacks play into a little bit of the rushing. Wish it didn't, but they had 20 attempts, like Jason said, for 31 yards, and their longest was 7 with an average of 1.6. So LSU definitely contained the run. Um,
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that 24-yard run was also the first play LSU ran from scrimmage on where the guy couldn't make the tackle. Durham bounces off and heads to the opposite side of the field. So I mean, in a way, you could look at it for him, 16 carries for 50 yards. I mean, that's not entirely impressive, a little over 3 yards. But I think the biggest thing that I also took away, like not uh, to kind of cover for Klubnik in a way, right? I think the LSU secondary looked really good compared to what I saw last year. I mean, the freshman DJ Pickett, when he was out on the field, you almost didn't even know he was there, based on if you were watching it on the broadcast, because I mean, he had, I think I saw something that said he had somewhere between 20 and 30 snaps and only had one pass even thrown his way and it was an incomplete pass. And that's that 6'5" freshman. So it's really exciting to see him getting on the field. And if he continues to develop, I think he's going to be a big piece for that LSU secondary, as well as in the second half. If you think about it, the safety from Virginia Tech that transferred that didn't play in the first half, homie's looking at a shutout so far in his LSU career. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back out on the field moving forward for the full game and seeing what the LSU secondary can continue to do. That makes life easier for the front seven.
can we talk about that a little bit? I definitely feel like that's a little bit. Didn't he get suspended from last year's bowl game? Was that the same
The
guy?
game against Houston, yeah.
I mean that That's a little rigged, in my opinion, to give a guy a first half suspension from that long ago. What was it, last week? The week before the game that they did that?
I
Well,
think,
technically, he was
yeah,
supposed to be suspended, and Clemson's the one that brought it up to the NCAA. But
But that's
it didn't
that's
end up.
full,
It didn't end up
it
mattering.
didn't matter.
LSU
Yep.
won.
that's some child's play, though, is what I'm trying to say. Like that's like Purdue saying, "Oh yeah, one of our players punched a guy." Like
But Dabo's a rule follower. That guy wants
Yep.
to make sure
Yeah.
everybody's following the rules.
Yeah.
Kenny made a good point. He said the backup guy held his own too, and I agree with that. While he was out, do we feel? I honestly, I'm going to go with the hot take here. I felt like Dabo was out coached, in my opinion. I really did.
Yeah. I mean, I think
mean,
honestly,
when you lose at home,
I was going to say, honestly, I think I can look at it from a coordinator perspective. I think Baker outplayed the offensive coordinator for Clemson. So, or outcoached. I mean, LSU's defense looked really impressive, and obviously had Klubnik running for his life some, and also held him to 50% passing, which is not good.
Overall, Dabo's comment is false. Tigers dominated. There you go. They did pass the test. Dabo is wrong. Love my boy Dabo. Full of positive energy. But let's be honest. Sometimes he just says some crazy crap. Anyways, moving on to our Indiana Hoosiers. David, I'm very disappointed in our Indiana Hoosiers performance. First play of the game. Old Dominion's quarterback just decides to make an 80-yard run for a touchdown and just totally fakes out our defense, as our whole defense went for the running back instead of anyone playing the quarterback. So that wasn't a good look. Already down 7-0 to start the game. I really felt like they had a solid second quarter, in my opinion. First quarter was probably the worst quarter of football we've played in a very long time. So obviously felt like, punt return, I believe we had that really got some momentum. Really felt like, uh, we had some momentum plays all around from our special teams. Mendoza looked really shaky. His stats were not good. 18 of 31, 193 yards. Did have some runs, 6 carries, 33 yards, 5.5 average, 1 touchdown. But my concern about Mendoza is, and I talked to David about this in real life, was that he's not used to having a clean pocket. Well, he was out at California, he had to run for his life. Second most sack quarterback last year, besides Shador Sanders being number one. And so he just looked nervous, which I get. It's first game of the year. But I'm really proud of our secondary, David. I thought our secondary, obviously, our leader in Pons and our secondary All American, but I really felt like they stepped up to the plate and played very well. So I'm really excited for that from a defensive standpoint for our team. And in my opinion, I felt like our linebacker play was a little sus. A little sus at times with Aiden Fisher. Obviously, they had an athletic quarterback, but we got one this coming week with Dexter Williams, former Indiana Hoosier. He's going to be amped up for the game. So that makes me even more nervous about the game. I really feel like Coach Sig's probably hammering in practice right now. But what are your thoughts, David, of the game?
yeah, I'll kind of take it piece by piece there. The defense really struggled with quarterback run. I mean, he had 10 carries for 179 yards. I don't know that he was sacked, so you don't even get any negative yards in there. And they lost him twice. They lost him on that first play of the game, and then they lost him later in the game for another 70-yard touchdown or something like that. So defense definitely has to get better. Linebackers need to keep contain. So do the DNs, especially with some running quarterbacks coming up. Even Illinois in a few weeks. That's the big game to start the season for Indiana in week 4. And they have a quarterback who can run. Altmaier's not really like a running quarterback, but he can run. So that's something they got to figure out here in the next few weeks. I agree with you though. The secondary looked awesome. I don't think the Old Dominion quarterback is much of a thrower. It doesn't seem like, because even when they were throwing, he just didn't look comfortable, even though our D line wasn't getting great pressure. So I think he's just more of a rusher. So we'll see how they look in the upcoming weeks. Obviously, this week with Kennesaw State, they're not going to throw a whole lot either. But yeah, I feel okay about the defense. I think the linebacking core and the D line, they'll be all right. Everything's going to be okay. I think we just got to make sure we are ready by week 4 when Illinois comes around. As for the offense, Curtis Rourke last year finished like 7th in the Heisman voting on a torn ACL. He led us to the playoff for the first time in school history. And in his first game, he went 15 for 24 with 180 yards. Didn't look great. You got a new quarterback in a new system with Mendoza. He was at Cal for 2 years as the starter. He's coming over here with a bunch of new receivers. All he's got is, I mean, he was here for the spring, but spring plus fall camp, that's 2.5 months of practices. It's not enough time to really get comfortable with the guys. And in addition to that, I think they were probably keeping some stuff under wraps with the playbook just to surprise teams down the road. So I think he'll be all right. We have a great running back trio that I think will be very, very good this year, and I'm fully okay with relying on them to carry us in a lot of games. So I feel all right. It was a very disappointing start to the season, but things are going to get better. I'm very confident in that. Sig will not let them get complacent and continue to play like this. So not great, but it'll get better.
Were you, Jason and David, were you shocked a little bit to see them drop 3 spots, though? 3 spots?
Not entirely. I mean, if we look at how the committee has handled this kind of stuff in the past, when you win a close game to a team that you were supposed to beat by a lot more. I mean, it's also week 1. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. They'll move up.
Yeah, in fairness to 2 teams came out of nowhere. Florida State went from unranked to 14th, and Iowa State, they didn't update the polls after they beat Kansas State week 1, and that's technically a top 25 win because Kansas State was ranked at the time. So Iowa State also jumped us. So I don't think that was as much due to us not playing well. I think it was just teams jumping us.
I agree with you on that. I really feel like, too, in my opinion, and I'm just looking at the whole entire AP poll, I feel like they're weighing a little bit more on who you play. A little bit. I mean, Tech dropped 1. I mean, from playing Arkansas Pine Bluff, and a couple other people dropped a little bit as well from playing sleepers. And obviously, it's beginning of the year, but Sig's comment, I felt like adopting the SEC schedule might be a little far fetched, in my opinion, with saying that. But I think it definitely matters who you play a little more in the off season. And in my opinion, that's what makes college football great, is having those out of conference games earlier in the season. But I get both sides of it. Does it really benefit you? I'm not sure on that. Obviously, that's up in there. Right now, I would say no. Doesn't really benefit you in some ways. But Kenny with a drop in the chat. He said Old Dominion has defeated a Power 5 opponent twice, both times against the Virginia Tech Hokies. A 49-35 win in 2018 and a 20-17 win in 2022. Obviously, Virginia Tech, I don't think was too great those years, but that still says something.
Old Dominion's dangerous.
I mean, they almost beat South Carolina last year. They took them to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact about that, maybe double overtime. So I did tell David I was a little worried about that game. And also Kennesaw State only I believe they lost to Wake Forest 10-9 by 1 and 14 carries for 44 yards. So like I said, I'm not overreacting because I definitely feel like our fan base is, in my opinion, of one game. And I feel like there's a majority. I would say we're split. Like some people are freaking out. Some people are playing cool and collective that it's the first game. I'm more of the middle right now, kind of in the neutral zone. I am a little worried, but I feel like it's the first game and you can't overreact. So, in
Let
my
me
opinion.
just say this, and then we can move on.
Okay.
People forget what it's like to be an Indiana football fan. We are the losingest program in NCAA history. The fact that we're winning a game should be cause for celebration. I don't care if it was a bad performance. We won a football game. That doesn't happen a lot. Take it and run with it.
We are probably forgetting how bad we were. Let's just remember about what was it? 2 years ago we took Akron to triple overtime and almost
That's correct.
lost. So should have
Yep.
lost off a field goal by Akron. So yeah, I agree with you, David, on there. We gotta salvage every win we can and embrace the new era that we're under with SIG. So definitely excited about it. There's another Big Ten team that had a big game, obviously. Probably one my opinion, probably top two games in my opinion. It was kind of a boring game though. Ohio State Buckeyes played the Texas Longhorns, number 1 versus 3. Um, Julian Sain looked pretty solid in my opinion. I would say he looked pretty good, pretty comfortable in that offense. And then uh, Arch did not look that way at all. Really felt like it was a defensive game, obviously, with the score 7-14. Really felt like Texas had some opportunities late in the game to make that final push. And I do agree with Kenny that he has a definitely weird throwing style. It's definitely different. Um, what would you say, Jason, on his throwing style?
Referring to Sayan or Manning?
Arch.
Oh, I thought there were. I mean, even from the first pass of the game, it felt like he was trying to quick snap throw it like a baseball rather than
Yeah.
actually setting his feet and throwing the ball. I mean, the very first pass, he had the guy wide open. He didn't need to rush it and sling it across like in a fastball of a shortstop throwing it to first base. But with that, like it's a close play when the guy's only halfway down the line. He could have just set his feet and made a toss to him, and that would have got the offense going a little bit. I saw a lot of shakiness, and not only a lot of shakiness, but there were a lot of times where these throws were made in this weird manner, and you're looking at it like, what's going on? What are we doing here? So that was very strange.
Especially his interception. It was bad. I mean, it was thrown up on the right side of the field. And obviously, I know he's trying to let his wide receiver try to make a play on it. But I mean, I believe it was in at least double coverage, almost triple coverage. And it was not a good decision on that. Let's go to the stats on on that game. Manning threw for 17 of 30, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 10 carries for 38 yards. Obviously had those rushes, while Julian Sain didn't really throw the ball that much, surprisingly. 13 of 20, 126 yards. Smith had 6 receptions with 43 yards, and Donaldson had a pretty good day, 19 carries, 67 yards, a touchdown, and 3.5 average for Ohio State. While Texas running back had his way as well, 16 carries, 80 yards, 5 average. Wisner and Livingstone had 2 receptions for 47 yards and a touchdown. But that Texas stat with running is a little shocking to me. 16, 80 yards and a 16 attempts with 5-yard average. That's pretty solid in my opinion. Maybe they should have switched it up and gone to the run a little more. Going to look at that. But I do think it's the first game of the season for both quarterbacks and offenses. They're only going to get better. But I do think both defenses are pretty elite and definitely top 10 in my opinion. And they showed that. So I'm really excited for Arch to get a little more comfortable. And it's obviously too early to react about Arch, right? Am I wrong?
100% too early.
Yes.
He was his first real start as the starting quarterback. He had a couple last year, but he was filling in for Ewers. On the road at the defending national champion. And I think they were trying to be, I mean, the first play he did miss the wide open guy. He had a shot down the field there. But they tried to be pretty conservative after that, and then once he opened it up at the end of the game, obviously they were down, so Ohio State was playing a little softer. He looked a little bit better. So I think if you get him in a rhythm to start the game, he's got a few games here, San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston before he gets back into the test in the swamp at Florida. So give him a little runway, get him in a rhythm the next few weeks, and then I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me to take away from this game was if you really compare Manning to Sayin, there really wasn't a whole big difference between how they've each played. I don't think either of them played that great. And I think off of what you were saying, Brendan, the defenses looked good. I mean, Matt Patricia at Ohio State, I saw some highlights. They threw some different kind of blitzes at Manning that he probably hasn't seen in college yet. So give him some time; he'll be okay. And I think both these teams are going to be playoff teams. So it's exciting to see this kind of game early on. But if you want to compare it to the LSU Clemson game, you would have expected better quarterback play out of that game than this game. And I think all four teams defenses looked pretty good in week one.
Definitely agree with you on that. 100% agree with you on that. I don't think there's any way that Texas and Ohio State aren't in it. I think Matt Patricia is a defensive genius. I've always thought about that, even at the NFL level. It's sad that he's not there right now because I feel like he's shown up. Obviously, it's his first college game, but I'm nervous that he's in the Big Ten and that Indiana Hoosiers might have to play him if they make it to the Big Ten championship, which there's a chance. So I will say that there's a chance. Might be a slight chance, but definitely a chance. And first half, 5 for 10 for 26 yards for the Longhorns, failing to make it past the Ohio State 40-yard line as the Buckeyes obviously claimed a 7-0 lead against them. So that's a telltale sign. Yes, Jason.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, think about it. Both teams had a 4th and goal from the 1 or 2, and one team scored it and the other one didn't. I mean, that's a huge turning point in the first half when that's the only points scored completely, as well as, I mean, overall throughout the game, Texas was 5-14 on 3rd down and went for it 5 times on 4th down and only converted once, while the only time OSU went for it on 4th down outside of that touchdown, they were incomplete. I mean, they went 1 for 2, but the biggest one was the opening touchdown. I mean, that's huge. So, I mean, there are a lot of punts in this game, a lot of turnover on downs for where both teams got into that weird no man's land where what do I do? Do I kick it or do I go for it? And I mean, it's going to happen. Like we said, it's week 1. And like David had mentioned about the Indiana game, these teams are not going to give all of their playbook away in week 1, no matter who they're playing. They know that this game is not going to make or break them making the playoff. They need to save it for their conference games and make sure they're ready to play those big opponents. So
I really wish they would open up the playbook, but I get it. It's week 1. Can't do that. Going to a very dark times for a historic program, the Bama Crimson Tide versus Florida State. What a sad game for Bama. I feel like we're moving into the dark times for Bama right now. I feel like DeBoer is on the hot seat, David, as I would like to say. And I could be overreacting, but don't feel like I'm overreacting. It's dark right now in Tuscaloosa. It's really dark. Florida State, in my opinion, flat out dominated them. I'm looking at the stats right now for this game. Florida State threw only 152 yards, I guess, for Castellanos. 152 yards. He had 16 carries, though, 78 yards and a touchdown. Wow. Bama was just slinging the rock. Simpson, 23 of 43, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bernard, 8 receptions, 146 yards. Woo! Bama had 29 carries, 87 yards, 3 average. Wow. Florida State just pounded the rock. 49 carries, 230 yards, 4.7 average. Bama had won 23 season openers in a row. Well, that just got snapped into living pieces, multiple pieces. I'll say that. Are we overreacting, David and Jason, to this first game?
I do not think we are overreacting. I think that the Bama that was dominating college football during the Saban era was built up front. They always had a good O line and a great running back behind them. They were able to just run the rock and keep possession of the game and allow their defense to take over. And their defense always had playmakers up front. They also had playmakers on the back end, but they used to control the line of scrimmage. And these stats show you 3 yards per carry on offense. Not great. And the fact that Florida State was able to run the ball 49 times for an average of 4.7, almost 5 yards per carry, and the quarterback only had to throw the ball 14 times, just shows you what has changed about Alabama. Now we could look back in a few weeks, and Florida State might just be really awesome because people do forget they went 2-10 last year, but just 2 years ago they went 12-0. They probably should have been in the playoff over Alabama. And so that program still should have the bones to be good, just like they were 2 years ago. Yeah, they had a down year last year. So we might see in 4 or 5 weeks that Florida State's just awesome and maybe Bama's still good. So I don't want to overreact too much, but I do think the stats are very telling as to what has changed about Alabama from the Saban era to the DeBoer era.
Yeah, I was gonna add that they were also 13-0 that year because they won the ACC championship game too in that 2023. Yeah, so yeah, got to give it to them on that one. And then we're not even going to talk about the bowl game because most of their team wasn't even playing, so it doesn't even matter. But I was going to add, I was going to basically echo something similar to what David said. I think the game in the trenches is something Alabama's always owned, especially in the Saban era. It was all about defense and running the football and controlling the game and not turning the ball over. And not that they turned the ball over because I didn't see any interceptions, but I mean, like you guys were saying, in the trenches, they got beat and they got beat bad. You're only having 87 yards of offense. The other team carried for like over half, like almost 50 times for 230 yards and basically just took it easy, if you want to say, in the passing game. They only had, like you said, David, only had to throw it 14 times. Meanwhile, Bama threw it 43 times. That's not Bama offense and Bama defense that I knew back in the day where you were scared.
I really feel like, and I'm going to say this, and this might be a hot take, but I really feel like they don't have an identity right now. They don't have, I really feel like Saban was great at building the identity of the program. That basically, we are Alabama, and you should be scared of us as soon as we walk in because we're going to dominate you from the trenches and everything else, and you're going to lose very badly. And they did that for many years. With DeBoer, I definitely feel like, what are we? And I'm really concerned about him because I really feel like he's on the hot seat. Trying to not to overreact too much, but is he that good of a coach? Or did he just have a great player in Michael Penix at Washington?
Well, I mean, if we look at his history, he's won Division III national championships. He was awesome at Fresno State. Great offensive coordinator at Indiana. I mean, I think he's a great coach, but I think that it is important for a coach to fit the identity of what a program is. First off, he's not from the South, and I think that does matter a lot of times. Obviously, the Brian Kelly thing has been a thing. It like he wasn't from, he's trying to ingratiate himself with the accent, but um, I think it matters. I think coach fit really matters, and I think they hired maybe the best coach on the market when they hired DeBoer. But is that as important as just getting a guy who fits your program, your school, where you're located, your fan base? And I don't know that he's it. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games, I think, after he started 4-0 last year. And then there was also that stat going around about when they're 14-point favorites. Saban lost 2 games ever as 14-point or more favorites. DeBoer's already lost 4 in a season and 1 game. Not great.
Not great at all. Former Bama QB AJ McCarron. You look at these other teams that have $40 to $50 million in NIL. Alabama, and I know this for a fact, talking to multiple people in the program, Alabama has less than $20 million in their NIL. Texas Tech has more than that. Texas Tech has more than that. Do we think that has something to do with it?
I don't. I think the main thing is that identity problem at the end of the day. I mean, Saban could get kids to come play for him because he put them in the NFL. I don't think it was all just about money, even though we didn't know how much people were getting. But I think a lot of people wanted to play for him because he was a winner and he prepared you for the NFL. And he was that discipline factor that these kids needed and felt like he propelled them to another level. And I don't know that DeBoer is going to be able to rise to that kind of mindset at Alabama. I go off of what David said. Could it just be a potential, just a bad fit being not from the SEC? The SEC is just a different beast than what he was dealing with prior to this. So there's always a lot of random factors that aren't talked about from a what's on paper kind of mindset. So,
do you think that Saban would have been able to handle NIL if he had to?
If he had to, yeah, I'm sure he could have. But when you're almost 70 years old, do you really want to put up with it? I think that's kind of what led to his retirement. But I think he would have been able to. I agree with Jason. I don't think NIL is the problem here. I think that when you're a program like Alabama, players are willing to take maybe a little less money than they would to go to somewhere like Texas Tech that doesn't have the football tradition to go there and win and get developed and go to the NFL, because that's how Saban got all those guys. He got them because they won and they went to the NFL. Yes, a lot of kids these days are going to be motivated by money, but I think there are still those 5-star type guys who know they're going to make it to the NFL, who aren't just there for the money. They're going to a place where they think they can win and where they can get drafted. And I think they've gotten away from that a little bit.
I agree with you. Saban was really good at that, and I definitely agree that kids would want to go to a program to where they can go to the league. That's what it's about at the end of the day. It's not about getting a bigger check. Obviously, some athletes are going to do that, but not everyone. So I definitely agree with you guys on that. Another big game happened this weekend. Miami versus Notre Dame. In Miami. Really felt like this was a well-coached game on both sides. Really felt like it was decent quarterback play. I was really impressed by Carson Beck. I know. I get it. But I really was impressed by him. He took care of the ball. Felt like he made smart throws. Beck threw for 20 and 31, 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. Notre Dame's defense is very legit, and he looked very comfortable sitting in the pocket. And when he needed to get rid of it, he got rid of it. Really felt like he didn't turn the ball over like he struggled with last year. I was really impressed by his performance. What do you guys think on Carson Beck?
Yeah, I thought he was solid. There was that awesome touchdown where he just kind of threw it up and the guy made the one-handed catch. That was cool. I think that he has always been a pretty good quarterback. Even last year, Georgia won the SEC. Like, I think because he wasn't number one draft pick type guy, people have kind of soured on him a little bit, but he's always been a good college quarterback, and I think that that's still in there. And I thought he played really well, controlled the game, didn't turn the ball over, and honestly, Miami kind of tried to throw the game away more so than Notre Dame was trying to come out on top at the end. So, yeah, I like Miami. I think they're going to be really good.
Top 5 team to end the year?
I think that's going to
Maybe.
depend on if they can between them and Clemson, who comes out, and Florida State, which one of those 3 teams comes out on top in the ACC. So I'll be honest with you, I was busy during this game, wasn't able to watch it. But I think the biggest thing I take away from it when I look at the stat line is Notre Dame with 2 turnovers and Florida State with 0. Miami with 0.
Yeah.
Did those turnovers impact the game at all?
First one did.
First one did.
Yeah, it was early. They fumbled. Notre Dame
Yes.
fumbled in Miami territory. Miami went down and scored.
There you go. Sometimes that's all it is.
That's
Momentum.
true.
It's real. It's not in the stat line. It's not gonna be
It's true.
in the analytics and what the data tells you to do. But it's real. It's real when you think about people that aren't robots. Their brains are not wired to be like a robot. Momentum is a real thing. Just leave it at that.
I'll tell you who is here to stay in college football for quite a bit before he goes pro. I was really impressed by the Notre Dame quarterback Carr, redshirt freshman. I see why they didn't go after anyone in the portal. Looked really solid in my opinion. Even his stats say so. 19 of 30, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously had the 1 pick, but 11 carries, 16 yards, and a rushing touchdown. I was really impressed by him. When David told me he was a freshman, I go, "Oh Lord, he's gonna get smacked in the mouth. Like won't have a clue." A lot of freshmen look really lost at times. He looked comfortable, and I've been really impressed by Freeman as a coach over the last couple years. Obviously, the Hoosiers played him, got dominated. And I felt like Sig got out coached that game. I'll be honest with you, David, on that one. But I really was really impressed in how Freeman and Notre Dame is bringing that program back alive after obviously Brian Kelly went to LSU. But I really feel like they're in great hands with Freeman. I really feel like Freeman could get a national championship there. Really do. With what he's building, what he's recruiting, and the culture, identity that he's building at Notre Dame is what identity is something we've definitely been talking about on this episode. But he is building that in South Bend, and it is exciting, very exciting to see as we move forward.
I'll just want to point out one good thing about the offense in this game and one absolutely horrendous, terrible coaching thing about the offense in this game. For CJ Carr, they did early what Texas should have done with Arch. They did a bunch of screens early on. Just catch the snap, turn and fire it to your guy outside. And that got him in a rhythm, and I thought that he settled in because they were at Miami. I mean, Miami fans can be crazy when that team's good and they're expected to be good. The environment was pretty awesome. So that was awesome that they got him in a rhythm there. But can we give the ball to Jeremiah Love? What are we doing here? He is the best running back in the nation. I don't think there's much of an argument there. He put up the stats last year, but they refused to put him in the game. They did this in every game last year too. They just refused to give him the ball. He's awesome. Give him the ball. I think that this is probably because they're trying to keep him fresh. It's a long season. I get it. Whatever. Jadarian Price is fine. If Jeremiah Love gets hurt because you're giving him the ball 25 times and he's scoring 3 touchdowns and you win the game, who cares if he gets injured? You got another guy behind him and you won the football game. You should be there to win the football game. Go win the game.
Go
That
win the
was
game,
mismanagement.
baby. Go win the game. Yeah, Coach D, go win the game, baby. Go win the game.
Got to win the
Like
game.
that energy.
Winning the game is what matters here, right? We're playing sports.
Go win that dang game.
And if you look at it, on top of this, Notre Dame's got another big opponent in 2 weeks in A&M. So, these first couple weeks for Notre Dame are going to be big for the whatever is to be their independent, unconference season.
Also, smart scheduling by Notre Dame to take a week off before playing A&M. That's smart. Just saying, because that's a big game.
Well, they don't have to worry
They have
about
a game
bye weeks
between
in the
there, don't
conference.
they? Do they don't have a game this week?
They don't have a game this week.
Week 2 bye is crazy.
I know. I'm just saying that's some gamesmanship from Freeman. That's all I got to say on that. And it's at Notre Dame, so what a schedule by Notre Dame.
I mean, you could do that. You could do that when you're not in a conference. You can do whatever you want.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have to do anything.
Because A&M plays someone this week.
I mean, I feel like I wonder if they have a tougher time finding teams sometimes middle of the season than they than outside. So
Yeah. Speaking of funny, Monday Night Football. I mean, college football, not NFL. But we had Bill Belichick on the sidelines, guys. Bill Belichick.
you sure it wasn't the NFL? Who where he at?
He had North Carolina, UNC versus TCU. And on their first drive, the Tar Heels go down and score. It looks like, this could be promising in Chapel Hill. Wrong. Very wrong. We put Johnson in at quarterback in the second half. Ooh.
Yeah, it's I didn't really watch a lot of this game, but I kept up with the game on the score line, and I just I, is there even much to talk about other than it looks like TCU just dominated them? Did they even look good? Did you
Hoover
guys
looked
watch
amazing.
it?
I watched
Hoover
a little
looked
bit, but
awesome.
Hoover
Josh
looked
Hoover is
unreal.
legit.
Very legit. I would not be surprised if he makes a Heisman push. There are some solid teams in the Big 12. I would say three or four. Four, 3.5. I'll take Tech as a half right now. I don't have much film on them besides, but Hoover is the starter for TCU and is had opportunities to go to SEC schools because SEC schools tapped into him while he was in the portal, but he decided to stay. What a true gentleman he is. But TCU flat out dominated. I'm gonna go with a hot take and say Bill Belichick won't even make it through the season.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe. They looked so
I don't-
bad. So unbelievably bad. The coaching was so bad. The offense
All
had
levels,
no
all
idea
levels.
what they were doing. They just every possession, first down, run the ball for 2 yards. Second down, run it for 0 yards. Third down, try to make your quarterback throw it down the field, and he's not a thrower, he's a runner. And then on defense, TCU had 2 long touchdowns to start the second half. Like, come on, man. You just got to be better coached than that.
I agree with you. And his girlfriend was on the sidelines at halftime. Why is his girlfriend down there on the sidelines at halftime? Seems to be up in the stands or not even at the games. This whole girlfriend distraction thing, I'm over it.
there was wasn't there a lot of celebrity people?
There was
Randy
this game?
Moss, Michael Jordan.
Wasn't Aaron Boone at this game?
I
Aaron
believe
Boone
he
there.
was too.
Isn't Aaron Boone in midseason? They're making
You
a
would
push for
think.
the postseason. He's worried about this game. What his son go there?
I would
His
also
son on the team, I think maybe.
maybe. I'm not sure, but there was a lot of star power. And then Reese Davis says while he's commenting, "Oh, it's been 2 hours and 7 minutes since North Carolina completed a pass." That is wild. That is terrible. Flat out terrible.
Wasn't there a
You sh-
hot mic of Kirk too, where they were coming back from commercial and he just goes, "They're terrible." I don't know if that was about that.
Unfortunately, Jason, that was fake news.
That was fake.
It was fake. He said
I
you
don't
were
like
bad. He
fake
was
news.
spotted.
I like
on a
I like
hot
real
mic.
news. I
We
like real
can't-
news.
Can't
Fake
believe
news.
anything.
Also,
Yeah, fake
former
news, man.
LSU quarterback Max Johnson, Jason, he threw for 9 of 11, 103 yards and a touchdown. Start that boy. Start him. Put him in the game. Stop with this Southern Alabama, whatever person that was in athletic quarterbackness. I don't know his name. Gio, right?
Gio Lopez.
Nah, Max Johnson is the truth. Put him in, but Coach Bill. Anyways, they're atrocious. We're moving on. They're a dumpster fire. I'm pretty positive that Bill Belichick will be gone. Gonna run through a little bit of South Florida and Boise State. Obviously, a big win for South Florida. They knock off 25. Boise State at home. Pretty good opponent. Obviously, had a fake punt with the backup quarterback situation. Saw that live at Jason's bachelor party. What a moment, guys! That was a play. What was your impressions of it?
I
Just incredible.
Yeah, it was a legit throw.
I mean, right on the dot. I mean, that was like bang.
My only takeaway from this game, and the reason I wanted to discuss it real quick, is Boise starts the season at 25. It just doesn't look like Boise State is very good. And I think that this is also a big thing of this just goes to show you how much Ashton Genty meant to that team last year and how basically he was their identity. And I still think he should have won the Heisman. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, Ashton Genty should definitely have won the Heisman last year, and he was the identity and the face of Boise State football.
He was taken out of most of their games, sometimes in the half, barely into the fourth quarter, if he even played in the fourth quarter.
I will say for Boise, they had another running back who looked awesome, and then he just kept fumbling. So that's an issue. But this game could be very important for the G5 representative in the playoff because Boise might just run through the rest of their schedule because they don't play in that great of a conference. Whereas South Florida, the next 2 weeks, they're at Florida, at Miami. 2 top 15 teams. Even if they lose those and go 10-2, Boise goes 11-1, I think South Florida would be more likely to be the representative there because of the head-to-head and the tougher schedule. So I think it's big to get this win in week 1, and they didn't even make it a contest. It was a runaway victory for the Bulls.
Could they beat Florida or Miami?
They could beat Florida. Florida's ranked 13th, but what have they done? It could happen this week.
It definitely could.
David, do you still think they'll make the playoffs?
South Florida?
Yes.
I think there's a very good chance if they put up a fight in either one of these games and then run the table. I think absolutely. We're going to talk about a game that I added on our notes here. James Madison, I think, is the other sleeper here for the G5 spot. So we'll talk about that later. But I think it might come down to those two if South Florida can actually run the table after those 2 tough games.
Their defense is elite. So good.
Yes. Yeah, we were watching it, and they were attacking the ball carrier every time. It's like the Boise State guy kept fumbling, but I think South Florida had something to do with that. They were attacking, attack.
They were not scared. I would say they were always one step up, one step ahead of Boise State too. And they tackle so hard. It's like, bam, they're coming at you with a vengeance and power. They are bringing the thump. And it was awesome to watch. I'm circling that Florida and the South Florida game because that's going to be a very good game in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, if South Florida can get a little bit of offense going, I really feel like they could make a run at it. So that's a team that I've circled along with Iowa State. Those 2 teams that are outside of the top 10 right now, obviously, but I have them circled that I'm paying attention to. So they have my attention, as I like to say. But this is how impressed I am with Iowa State. I even have it on our notes. Iowa State is legit. They're legit. Their defense is legit. Their offense is a little shaky at times, but I think they're going to figure that out. David is disagreeing with me. What's wrong with Iowa State, David?
This Iowa State hype is out of control. Why?
They're legit.
In what way?
They are going to beat the Hawkeyes this weekend by 10 points or more.
Great. Iowa doesn't have they don't play offense there.
They don't.
So great. What is making you say they're legit? What have they done?
They handed Kansas State a great loss, but Kansas State almost lost to North Dakota.
Yeah,
obviously,
Kansas State's trash.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. But I believe in Campbell a lot. I believe in Campbell. I believe in their scheme. If they can get a little bit of offense going, so far Rocco Beck has thrown 461 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and they have 2 legit takeaways, tied for 12th in the NCAA in takeaways. Their defense is legit. So my point is, they're I want to say, dark horse to make the playoffs. They're my dark horse besides South Florida. But they're 2 teams.
Their 2 takeaways are tied for 12th in the
Yeah.
NCAA. Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah.
They've
That
played
is
one more
what
game
you're.
than every other team.
I know.
All right.
All right, he's done with the Iowa State hype. I get it. I might be wrong about that one, David. I might be wrong.
I love that you're willing to make a call here. I love it. I love you putting your foot in the ground. I'm just putting my foot in the ground and running the other way.
No, I
fast as
like
can.
it. I mean, we could disagree. That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're here talking about it. Kenny made a good point. Iowa State's highest ranked opponent right now is Arizona State. That might be a little concerning, but all you got to do is win those games. So, and I do agree that TCU could be ranked by that time as well. So, yeah, they really could. TCU looks legit. Let's break down top 5 teams right now after week 1. I'm going for my own right now. Number 1, I got Ohio State. Number 2, Penn State Nittany Lions. Number 3, I got the LSU Tigers. Number 4, I got the Miami Hurricanes. Whoa. Number 5, I got the Notre Dame. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I tried to sound like a hurricane, but that obviously didn't work. Sorry about that, guys.
Was that a tropical storm?
It was a tropical storm, baby. You know how they get the little thing and they go, "Rrrr," and just like winding up like a noise.
What are they starting up a generator?
Something like that. That's what was his face? The old Cowboys coach was there. What's his name?
Jimmy Johnson.
Forget it. Jimmy Johnson, baby. Jimmy Johnson was there doing that. Kenny said it said there.
No.
There you
Don't
go.
say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
It did though. I agree.
Don't say that.
All right, Jason. What's your top 5?
Yeah, so for mine, I got Ohio State at number 1. I think just with the matchup, it just they won, so they'll be 1 this week. I got LSU at 2. There was a big game on the road that just they look good. Penn State and then Georgia. Neither of these teams played top tier opponents, but so I just left them in order of where they were in the top 25. So I'm going to let the writers help me with that one. And then I got Miami at 5 because they jumped up due to the game at Notre Dame. And then my honorable mentions, just things to watch out for my future top 5s. It's going to be Clemson getting back up in. Let's see how they look moving forward. Oregon, they're just on the outside looking in. They could have a really good season as well. And I'd like to see where Texas Tech ends up this year. They had even though they played Arkansas Pine Bluff, I mean, still put up 67 points. It's always impressive. So I'll be watching them moving forward.
Yeah, I got Ohio State 1 as well. I mean, there's no real argument against that. They're the defending national champions, and they beat what most people still would view as a top 5 talent team in the country, I think, in week 1. I have Georgia number 2, which may come as a surprise, but they are the kings of the SEC right now. They have ran it, them in Alabama
SEC
for the
fanboy.
past 5 years. Definitely an SEC fanboy. Big SEC guy over here. I mean, Georgia's the class of the conference until they're not. And I hope they're not, but we'll see. I got LSU at 3. Very impressive victory. Defense looks awesome. Miami at 4. I agree with Brendan. I think Notre Dame is still going to be really good this year. We'll see how they fare in that game against Texas A&M next week. But I think they'll still be really good. So I think that's a pretty impressive win. And 5th, I've got Penn State. They're not really doing a whole lot for me right now other than I know they've got the talent. They returned some key guys. So we'll see with them. And then honorable mentions, I've got Florida State. I think that's more of like a wait and see type thing. Is Bama really that bad, or is Florida State really that good? I think we'll find out here in a few weeks. South Carolina, I think the potential's there with Sellers. And then Utah, we didn't talk about them, but they blew out UCLA 43-10, I think. And Devin Dampier, their quarterback, looked awesome. I think they're pretty sneaky in the Big 12 this year.
I agree with you. Tech plays them week 4. So
Big game.
big game there. That's a big game. Obviously, some big games to watch for week 2. Obviously, our guys at South Florida at Florida. Florida is a 17-point favorite, 17.5. Over and under sits at 56.5. I would take South Florida. Just saying, they look solid.
Hammer it.
Man, is that who you taking, Jay?
I would
Florida?
definitely take South Florida spread here. Just
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just leave it at that.
I think there will be a lot of points in that one too. Could be.
You
But
just said you love South Florida's defense.
I do. I do. But also, it's hard to control Lagway.
I guess we'll see. I haven't seen him do anything yet.
That's just my opinion. Lagway is dangerous. Jason knows how I feel about Lagway. I love Lagway.
He likes Lagway more than I like Lagway.
I think Lagway is top 3 SEC quarterback. There you go. That's my take. That's my take on that. Yeah, as you shake your head. Let's go to Big Ten country. Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 5.5 point favorite. Over on earners at 45.5. This is probably the game of the week. Obviously, 2 mid-ranked top 25 teams. I actually like Oklahoma in this one with the quarterback play. I really feel like Venerables, I don't know how you say his name. Last name. Anyways, I really feel like he's trying to take that step forward as they've been kind of mediocre throughout last season and didn't even make a decent bowl game. So I feel like they're ready to take that next step. And Michigan's just a little concerning to me with their freshman quarterback they're starting. Correct, David, on that?
Yep.
So I definitely like Oklahoma on that one. Who do you guys like on that one?
I'm taking Oklahoma just because of them being at home, but I'm not even going to talk about the spread. I just would take Oklahoma being at home. But I will say we didn't talk about either of these two quarterbacks, Mateer and Underwood, but this is going to be a fun matchup to watch for both of these teams. I think Underwood didn't look too bad last week, and Mateer looked so from what I read.
Yeah.
I didn't watch them play, but so very excited to see both of these two young quarterbacks play. So I would definitely be watching it.
I will be watching that one as well.
I love Oklahoma. I also want to say before we move on, Brendan, I love you calling Oklahoma Big Ten country because your boy was just there. You're right.
He did say Big Ten country, and I immediately was like, wait a second, what are we talking about here?
Well, I thought it was at Michigan. My bad on that one.
It literally says at in the show notes.
I see it. I
even put it in there specifically so we knew who was at home.
We're going to Iowa though for sure this time. Iowa at Iowa State. We got the Hawkeyes versus the Cyclones. Cyclones are 3-point favorites. Over and under 41.5. I love Iowa State in this one. Pound it. Yep, obviously fanboy over here for the Cyclones. Who y'all taking?
I'll take Iowa State too, just because I don't know. I'm with David, like he mentioned earlier. I mean, will Iowa score? So I don't know, but I think it'll be a good game. It's always a good game when these two teams get together, no matter which team is ranked or both teams are ranked or both teams suck. So I'm very excited to watch the Cy-Hawk trophy get crowned to someone. Yeah,
I fully agree. I think that this will be a low-scoring game because Iowa doesn't know how to move the ball forward. It's a big field position game. You know, make sure your punter is on point, and you see what happens. You know, hope your running game can can get some yards, but I think it'll be a good one. I love the under just because these teams
Love
always
the
play
under.
close,
I was gonna say
low
love the
scoring
under.
games.
Iowa's punter will net more yards than their offense
100%.
by
Wow.
possibly triple.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Big Noon Kickoff. They'll be there, and our guy Dave Portnoy, Father Dave, will also be on that show as well. So tune into that. That'll be fun. Love Father Dave. Now we are going to SEC country for sure again. Going to Ole Miss at Kentucky. Ole Miss is a 10-point favorite, over and under at 50.5. If you guys remember last year, Kentucky beat Ole Miss. So I love Kentucky's spread here on the plus 10. What are y'all thoughts?
Kentucky stinks.
Yeah. I like the early SEC matchup, but I think Ole Miss gets this done by probably about 24 points.
Dang.
Yeah.
Y'all,
I mean,
y'all
their
believe
offense
in
is
the
good.
y'all believe in
And
the Rebels.
I'm with David. I mean, Kentucky's just not going to be very good this year. They're going to be bottom 3 in the SEC probably.
Calzada, baby. They got Calzada.
Didn't he? Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about that.
All
I'm not
right,
even
David
gonna go
loves
there.
Kentucky too. Let's go. Okay.
Whoa.
I think he said he did not.
Whoa.
Did not.
No.
I think he
Kentucky's gonna
loves
be
that.
they're going to be the worst SEC team this year, I think.
No. They'll be down there with probably Mississippi State. So
I think Mississippi State will be better than them. Kentucky is a school who does not have NIL money for football. They don't care. All that money is going toward basketball.
Absolutely. It's a bluegrass state, and I hope they lose for basketball and they have a terrible year this year. But we sold their guy. We sold one of the recruits, so that made me happy this year. Going to SEC country again. We have Kansas at Missouri. Missouri is 6.5-point favorite, over and under at 50.5. I like Kansas, but not on the road. I think Missouri wins. I think the game will be tied. I think Missouri wins by 3. So I do like Kansas to cover on that.
I love Kansas here. They've already got 2 games under their belt. Offense should be, rolling on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, whatever that saying is. And it's a rivalry game, so I would expect it to be close. And Missouri played Central Arkansas last week and won like 61-0 or something like that. So they're not really going to be prepared for this level of a matchup. I think I love Kansas first half, but I also love them full game.
I'm going to go against the grain. I like Missouri. I think Missouri's a tough place to play at, so I'm going to roll with them.
Aren't they the Tigers too?
They are the Tigers. There's a lot of Tigers in the SEC.
Just recognize that.
There is.
The SEC is all Tigers and Bulldogs.
And Wildcats and shit like that, I guess. On to the wonderful Midwest. We got West Virginia at Ohio. West Virginia's 3.5-point favorites. Over unders at 60.5. I love Ohio here. Give me the Bobcats, baby. Give me the Bobcats and the MAC. Love their quarterback play. The Ohio University. Love them. Love them to cover in this game. Love them to win outright. Hammer the money line. What are your thoughts?
I think you're going to get sued for saying the Ohio University. Ohio State's not going to like that.
Sue me. Sue me.
I love West Virginia here. Ohio put up a fight last week against Rutgers. That's Rutgers. Give me Rich Rod and the boys.
Oh, Rich Rod and the boys. Here we
honestly, I mean, Ohio struggled early on, and Rutgers got a big lead. And I mean, they made a good comeback, but I'm with David. I don't know that they're going to be able to do that against West Virginia, even though they're at home.
You love Rich Rod, don't you, David?
Yeah, he tanked Michigan. That was awesome.
He did tank Michigan. That was funny. I love that too. Over to ACC and Big 12 action. Baylor at SMU. SMU is 2.5-point favorite. Over and under 65.5. I love Baylor here. I believe Baylor's legit. I think it'll be a very good game. It's gonna be really tight. But I think Baylor makes a last minute drive, 2 minute drive, and gets the win. Love their quarterback from Lubbock, Texas. I believe his name's Robertson. Very solid overall. Don't know much about their defense, but I feel like they're going to do enough to handle the QB of SMU and get that dub.
Give me SMU.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with David. Give me SMU. I think Baylor kind of struggled a little bit with Auburn last week, and I don't even think Auburn's a top tier SEC team. So I'll take SMU.
All right. No SMU. Okay, on to the SEC country again. Arizona State at Mississippi State. Arizona State's a 6.5-point favorite. Over and under is 58.5. I love Arizona State here. I think Mississippi State's a dumpster fire. Who y'all taking?
I love Mississippi State here. It was a one possession game last year in Arizona when Arizona State was a playoff caliber team. Granted, it was early in the season. I think Mississippi State should be a lot better this year because they were really bad last year. So I like Mississippi State.
Even though I said Mississippi State will be down there with Kentucky at the bottom of the SEC standings, I still am going to take Mississippi State here, being at home.
Y'all love Mississippi State. Interesting. Go Big 12. On to the Big 10.
Who you got?
spectrum.
Who you got?
I got Arizona State by 2 touchdowns or more.
Are they
easily
legit? Like Iowa State? Are they legit?
They're legit. Pound them. Take that 6.5. I would even raise it to 10.5.
I think you might just like colors yellow and a darkish version of red.
Maybe, David. Maybe.
I
We're
guess
going to
we'll find
Eugene,
out.
Oregon. Oklahoma State at Oregon. Oregon is 28.5-point favorite. Over and under 57.5. Love Oregon here. Oklahoma State sucks. They're going to be the worst in the Big 12. What are your thoughts?
Agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Quack.
Love it. Love the agreeness. Quack. We got a pretty good big game here. James Madison at Louisville. Do agree that has G5 playoff spot implications here. Louisville's a 12.5-point favorite. Over and under is 55.5. I like James Madison here to cover. I'm not sure if they're going to do enough to win. I think they could win. James Madison is a sleeper. But I like JMU here as a dog.
Friday night game, so this it's at least an interesting Friday night game. Put it on the TV, don't really watch it and see what happens. James Madison, if they keep this game close and they run the table in the rest of their schedule, could make a very compelling argument to be the G5 representative. So I think it's important that they keep it close here, and I like them to.
I'll also roll with James Madison in this game just because I have trust in David, and David likes the Dukes, so I'll take the Dukes.
Go Dukes, baby. Go Dukes. Plus, David's very knowledgeable in college football. So, go Dukes, baby. All in on the Dukes. Yeah, you. Pointing at yourself over there.
All right.
All right. If you guys want more content like this, go to our YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in and listening. We appreciate it. We have hats. If you guys want hats, I got them. Don't have it on right now to show you, but $30. Believe I got 4 or 5 left. Y'all are interested, just DM me and we'll get you hooked up and shipped out. Like I said, we thank you for you guys' support, tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.